format this video so that you cannot see my face. Hello friends. That was so terrible. Hey guys, so my name is Eden. I go by Eden Marie. I'm just here to be your friendly artistic friend. That sounded so cheesy, but it's true. I really have no reason to start this channel other than to kind of just put my personal experience online and hope that if I can't help you with art, maybe I can help you with your mental health journey. If I can't help you with your mental health journey, maybe I can help you get accustomed to being on campus. You know, this isn't a draw with me, of course, but I'm not just gonna be posting our videos with like art. I'm gonna be posting vlogs as well. Currently, I don't live on campus though, so I will not be posting campus. Is she good? not me being nosy. But yeah, I'll post vlogs eventually, but I'm not on campus right now. I'll be on campus in the fall, so you will see more videos and more vlogs of that as a digital animation major. But definitely stick around if you want to have a friendly artistic friend who has mental health issues. Wow. Whoo! Okay, but today's video, I'm creating a character. Her name is Rose. We'll definitely get into her later. I'll be doing like a voiceover while I'm drawing her. And as we're drawing Rose, we will be talking about mental health. I know it's like, as like the first video I do, it's like such a heavy topic. But I feel like the conversation about mental health is opening up. However, since mental health is so stigmatized, especially with like ADHD, bipolar disorder, depression and anxiety. We will be talking about depression and anxiety today, because as much as I can gather information about mental health, and I've took psychology, and you know, I have been in therapy, so I've been told different aspects of mental health issues. I don't know everything about mental health. I just want to put that out there. I do not know everything about mental health. I want to talk about from my own experience, because I have been diagnosed with mental health disorders. So I want to talk about my own mental health disorders and how they affect me. Maybe personally you might be feeling the same way, or like you don't know. I just want to open a space for there to be conversation, and a conversation about people who are artists who have mental health issues, because that is me. Let's get drawing. Honestly though, if this is triggering for you, I'm sorry that this has to be the first video that I post. I will be posting better, less triggering art videos. I think I want my next video to be talking about Euphoria, because I do watch Euphoria. Maybe that's triggering as well. I don't know. This world is just dark. I will be posting other videos, so hopefully you can watch the other videos and they won't be as triggering for you. I will not be talking about anything like really triggering, because I just wanted to really talk more about like my cognitive process. Just things that have led me to be the person that I am, but I'm not going to talk about like harming or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're still like worried about just talking about certain aspects of your life that might have been scary or might have been like traumatic for you, because like I will still be talking about like traumatic, well, I shouldn't say that, I don't want to invalidate my experiences, but I will still be talking about things that have traumatized me. But it's not like, I'm not talking about like SA, or I'm not talking about like harm, or like, you know, whatever. I'm just gonna be talking about abandonment issue type thing. So if you're okay with that, stick around and let's talk. If you're not, that's completely fine, and I'm so sorry that this is my first video. I'll be coming out with more videos. I don't know how frequently yet. I'm thinking 1 per month for now until I get used to the YouTube process. But if you are able to stick around and you do want to learn more about mental health, stay around and let's talk. So for a couple years now, I've been working on this personal project called Broken Humanity. It's a commentary on human psychology and what I believe would happen to our future and society if people suddenly develop superhuman abilities. But today, we're just focusing on Rose. She's a sweet, naive-like character with genetic abilities, so like being able to move rocks and growing flowers. Kind of like, she's not like Toph from Avatar: Last Airbender. Scratch that. But I feel like Rose is important to the story of Broken Humanity because she adds a sort of complexity and murks the waters of black versus white political and social issues. But now that we know her, let's talk about something more socially complex: mental health disorders. Mental health is such a fascinating concept in my opinion because it seems like everyone knows what it is and at the very same time, no one understands it. Like when it comes to depression, anxiety, ADHD, bipolar disorder, people know about it, but stigmatize it so hard is literally insane. And I genuinely feel like my mental health has been so misunderstood for so many years. So with that being said, let me give you a fresh introduction. Clinical depression, also known as major depressive disorder, is a feeling of persistent and intense feelings of sadness for extended periods. Everyone experiences depression differently, but for some, it can look like changes in mood and behavior, loss of appetite, sleep, and even interest in some of your favorite activities. For me, I always felt like something was wrong with me like my whole life. I could never quite place it, but I always felt sad. I always felt emotions so intensely from others. I always felt sad for long periods of time, and I rarely felt happy for longer than 2 to 3 days. It felt like a spark in the ocean. It wasn't until 2 years ago that I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder by a college therapist. After being this way for so long and knowing finally what it was, I had hoped that things would change. I had hoped that I would change. But I didn't really change much. Often I feel myself losing caring about taking care of myself and my favorite hobbies. I don't want to eat anything. I don't want to sleep, or all I do is sleep. I just feel like I don't care about anything. I have never really been good at coping with it either. I just let the wave pass, and I hope I will soon be on the surface again. I've gotten so used to the idea of being sad that it's become to feel kind of normal for me. Granted, it is not normal for everyone else. When I felt disconnected from the world, especially in middle school and high school, my family didn't really even believe in depression. See, because the thing about MDD, you can't physically see it in front of your eyes. Physically, you have no way to determine whether or not it is happening except maybe with an MRI scan. It wasn't until a couple of years ago where that changed in my family because they actually saw me going through it. And yet it still doesn't make sense or make it easier for them. People who don't suffer with biological depression often don't really know how to deal with someone who is dealing with that. I've grown disconnected from family and friends as I have, been gotten so much unhelpful advice about my mental illness. Just read some affirmations, journal, meditate, you'll be fine. If you exercise, you wouldn't be so depressed. Just go on a walk and focus on something else. It would be different if I never explained to them how my brain works, how it's wired. There is no quick fix to my mental illness. It is one of the hardest things I have had to deal with, and feeling so misunderstood by my support system feels incredibly defeating. It is not easy to deal with this constant negative pattern of thinking where I don't believe I'll be good enough and that I'm a burden. We're not burdens though, we're sick. I remember a more peaceful time where I genuinely believed everyone had obsessive thinking, constantly on repeat, some of the worst case scenarios that could happen for no particular reason. That was until people kept telling me I had to change my negative mindset, where I realized this might be a problem. And that is a generalized anxiety disorder for you. It is the excessive, ongoing, and constant worry that are difficult to control and interfere with your day-to-day activities. I honestly cannot pinpoint my anxiety. I just know it's been here for a while. I find myself avoiding going to events in fear of making a fool of myself or that no one will like me, and then just skip it entirely. I find myself also avoiding trying new things because I'm just going to fail, so what's the point? I think and then believe the worst things possible that give me excessive worry over something that may not be as big of a deal. Sometimes that worry and fear comes out physically, and for me, that is panic attacks and stomach pain. For example, I was talking to this guy who I liked romantically, but he ended up being more compatible with someone else, and I could not really handle that well. I hated seeing pictures of them together, which I rarely saw, but one day, I was at Barnes & Noble, and I opened my Snapchat before seeing him out on a date with her, and I just lost it. I had a moment where I couldn't breathe, and not only could I not breathe, but I couldn't remember how to breathe. I was borderline crying, clenching my fist in my skirt. Short spurts of breath were coming out as I was trying to remember how to breathe, but it was so strained. And now, It sucks seeing the guy you like with someone new, but it probably shouldn't result in a full-blown panic attack. Granted, though, we did do the devil's tango, and, you know, he was the first person I did the devil's tango with, so... But more importantly, it unfortunately reminded me of another situation where I was involved with a toxic, abusive male friend who had hurt me. He allowed his girlfriend to make belittling comments towards me and belittled me and invalidated me himself. And he tried to coerce me to do something I didn't want to do with the threat of neglect, which he often did in our 6-year relationship. And I'm still in pain and I'm still traumatized by his actions. And unfortunately, I applied that traumatic feeling onto this new person and worry and fear that all that pain would happen with him. It caused me to detach from him, and I stopped talking to him instead of being honest and communicating how I felt with him. Maybe it would have helped and maybe not, but I reacted in a way that someone in danger would have to seeing him with someone else. That doesn't mean that my feelings are invalid, nor is my mental health invalid. That is just what anxiety is. It is not something we can't help, but rather it's something incredibly difficult to control. So I guess it is something that we can't help. But, just like having to reprogram yourself and believing you're safe and you're okay, it's so incredibly difficult. And I would like to think, though, that the first step is acknowledging it. However, in terms of the next step, which is finding help and support, the world doesn't exactly make that very easy. There's something to be said about everyone going through their healing journeys right now in 2022. People genuinely believing in the manifestation of angel numbers and connecting to their own spirituality. I do appreciate that everyone is doing what they can to heal and put themselves first, because I do believe we're just a society full of traumatized people trying to get through the hardship called life. And yet, this self-care or that girl movement seems to exclude those who are unable to use quick fixes to solve their problems. On social media, mainly women are sharing their heartbroken experiences and how they are reading more, eating well, or exercising all to get over their breakup. They're putting themselves first and staying single. All of this is great, but my problem is how too often it seems that people tend to believe everyone needs to be able to read and journal and meditate to heal fully. Personally, I've tried everything. Meditating really does not work for me. Reading is okay, but never enough to fully distract me. I am obsessed with art. I love everything about art, whether that's painting, sculpting, 3D sculpting, 2D illustrations, and yet I still feel depressed doing it. There is no quick fix to my mental illness, and I find it hard to connect to these people going through this healing journey who don't understand that. Even with family and friends, I find myself getting frustrated as they believe I am not sleeping enough or eating well, and that is why I'm depressed. There is something to be said about biological versus situational depression. Situational depression usually comes at a traumatic time in your life where you feel persistently sad for a long period of time, but when that time is gone, you feel better again. My therapist described to me that having biological depression, you're already at a disadvantage, that chemical levels in your brain are imbalanced and already programmed to be depressed. Therefore, when someone with major depressive disorder encounters a traumatic event, it is extremely hard for them not only to deal with, but to get over. I've explained this to nearly everyone I know, and yet still no one gets it. The only people who seem to understand are people who also have major depressive disorder or generalized anxiety disorder. Someone once told me, become obsessed with loving yourself in response to a situation I was dealing with. I know they didn't mean anything by it and they were just trying to help me in this time of turmoil, but it wasn't very helpful. I ended up kind of detaching myself from them too. I think I have avoidant attachment. But anyways, because I can't just flip a switch on my mental illness, honestly, it makes me envious of people who don't have to live with this illness because it is so hard to deal with. I cannot emphasize enough how hard it is to deal with. I wish it was so much easier to be able to refocus my brain and change my negative mindset, but it is so hard to even want to take care of myself these days. I honestly don't want to because I don't care. And I have found myself at this point of frustration of being misunderstood, that I disconnect from others after being misunderstood. I'm tired of having to explain to people what it is that is going on just for them to either invalidate my emotions or give me unhelpful advice. I would not encourage you to do this though, as having a support system through these difficult times is very important, but please be cautious with who you allow into your support circle. If you are someone watching this who is a system of support for someone, instead of assuming what you believe would be best for them, why not try asking them what they need instead? One of the hardest things about mental health disorders is finding that thing that will make you happy. For some people, they do actually find joy in reading and escaping in a good book. I myself am an avid reader. I love to read. Or they find meditating calming and relaxing. Maybe for you, it is being surrounded by others who love you and care for you. Your happiness, your healing should look different from everyone else's because we are all different and we all think differently and process everything differently. But sometimes it feels like nothing will help and everything is hopeless, that you have no future. I can't tell you what to do, and honestly, you probably don't want me to, but what I can tell you is that what I've tried, and you can decide whether or not if that's something that you would like to try as well. Art, as you may know, which is probably kind of obvious, is my passion, and my love for it is immeasurable because I get to express my imagination in ways I cannot do in other media. But honestly, it doesn't really make me feel better and often does not distract me from my anxious thoughts. And after trying so many different coping habits like reading or meditating or exercising, I genuinely felt hopeless. And then I kept trying to find something, anything that would make me feel just a little bit better. And I finally found it. I have created a playlist of music from when I was younger and what felt like a simpler time and just like something that was like more enjoyable. When I listen to Disney, Nickelodeon, or throwback music in general from the 2000s and 2010s, I feel a sense of joy I cannot explain, but also I feel like safe in a way. Another thing that's helped me feel safe is creating a coping box. I realized that feeling safe is very important to me. The feeling of comfort and security is something I don't usually feel, but I wanted to create something where I did. In it, I included worksheets, letters, poems, playlists, comfort movie recommendations, and comfort food. It won't completely heal me because that's kind of not the point, I know that, but rather to just feel that sense of comfort and security for a moment would be helpful. It'd calm me down. But that may not work for you, and that's okay. Unfortunately, people with mental health disorders need to do a lot of work to figure out what works for them. It feels like we need to work 10 times harder to heal or feel okay. And it can genuinely feel exhausting when nothing works for us. One thing I realized is I need to figure out helpful plans or coping mechanisms when I feel better because I genuinely want to help. I genuinely want that help, or I want better for myself. But I can't tell you what to do because unfortunately, you have to figure that out for yourself. But having someone to help you figure out what that may be for you, like whether that's with a therapist, a trusted family member, or a friend, do what you believe would help you best. And I too can help as well with recommendations that I can offer you that may be of assistance to you. But even if you feel like no one understands, please still reach out for help if you need it. It is okay to reach out for help. Now, my recommendation for today, for the girls and the boys who are struggling with mental health like me and love sci-fi everything, I recommend Geek Girls Don't Cry by Andrea Towers. This is one of the few self-help books where I found hope because often I feel the need to connect with different characters, mostly fictional, to not feel so alone in my problems. Geek Girl Don't Cry does that for me. So if you are interested in something like that, I would definitely recommend to read, as this author takes these different characters from different every kind of sci-fi too, whether it's Wonder Woman, Black Widow, even Katniss Everdeen. She takes these characters and connects them with mental health problems that we deal with day to day. And if that sounds like something that you're interested in, I would definitely give that a read. Please advise you to reach out to someone because there is a spark in the ocean, I promise you. If you really cannot find any sources or you don't know who to call or don't know who to talk to, I will link some different people that you can call down below. And also I will link down below where you can find the book and where you can just find different resources. And I genuinely hope that if you are struggling, that you please get some help. My next video won't be as heavy. I really just I like doing these commentary style videos because I love video essays. I also love vlogs. The only problem with vlogs, I don't really go anywhere. So we'll see about that one. But I would like to do more commentaries. Definitely comment down below what you want to see more from me. I want to do a commentary about Euphoria for sure, and maybe the Hunger Games, because I love the Hunger Games. You do not know this girl. I love the Hunger Games. I love it. I will not be doing commentary about After because you know why. You know why. Okay, if you know what, first of all, if you know what After is, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing After. No sir, no ma'am. But I would like to do a lot of different video ideas. Just tell me what you want to see. Unfortunately, cool college vlog probably will not be coming until August of this year, because that's when I will like really be fully integrated into my new campus. So, but definitely stick around. I have so many ideas coming. I have so many ideas to share with you. And thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it.